guys? How do you like them? Want to share the contract?
I'm going to call this meeting to order on
like
April
it in-
3rd, 2019. The regular meeting of the Board of Directors by motion and order of the board was adjourned at 6:30 p.m. till April 10th, 2019. The notice of adjournment was posted within 24 hours after said adjournment in the manner required by Government Code Section 54955. Tonight we will be looking at the revised agenda. I call the meeting to order and ask Director Luckman that she will lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. Continuation of the forum.
Do a roll call. Director Reynolds. Here. Director Unger. Here. Director Johnson.
Here.
Director Luckman.
Here.
And Director Hund is absent with excused absence. You have a majority quorum.
Item number 4 is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Any discussion? Hearing none, then I will call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved, so done. Item number 5, public comment. Members of the public may address the board at this time with regard to matters within the board's jurisdiction that are not listed on the agenda. State law prohibits the board from discussing or taking action on items not included on the agenda. Members of the public will have the opportunity for public comment on any item listed on the agenda when is it addressed on the agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Are there any public comments? Yes, sir.
El Marquez, Joshua Tree, Sunfair Community. At the last meeting, the Board of Directors, on a majority, 3-1, voted to increase the manager's salary for merit raise, or whatever you want to call it, between now, April, and September. They decided to give the manager a 5% increase on his salary. Of course, it's less than $10,000, but nevertheless. I just found out that the Bighorn Desert View Water District, they just increased the employees' salary for a year of 2.8% of their salary. And the manager for that district, they increased the a percentage of 2.0. So 2.0 and 5.0 is quite a bit of difference, almost twice as much, or more than twice as much. So I concur with the Director Reynolds that he was against the 5% increase for the manager for the Board of Directors, or the Joshua Basin Water District. And of course, he is under the auspice of the Board of Directors. He's not a regular employee of the Water District. And even though it's not very much, but I'm really surprised that the Board of Directors majority agreed to pay him 5%. And I've heard from members of the community and also the board, majority of the board, saying that he's done a wonderful job. But as far as I'm concerned, that the previous two managers that we had for the Water District, Terry Lyons and Joe Gazzetta, were better managers for the Water District, especially with Mr. Sowers. I have a lot of respect for him for working for the federal government and stuff like that, and the national park. But as far as Water District manager, he was below par as far as I was concerned. And like I said, you had people in the community saying that their husband is a retired Marine, and he does nothing, and he gets.
Time is up.
Okay, I'll close up.
Thank you.
He's a retired Marine, and he doesn't do anything for his increase. Well, he spent a lot of years supporting our country. Thank you.
there any other comments from the public at this time? All right, moving on to item number 6, public hearing number 4. The public hearing to take input regarding potential transition by district elections for board members and to consider a draft voting district maps, introduction, and the first reading of ordinance establishing district-based elections. This time, I will turn the meeting over to Jennifer.
Yep. Good evening and welcome to public hearing number 4. Tonight we are here to take additional public input as well as input from the board with respect to the 3 draft maps that are before you, map 101, 102, and 103. In addition, based on the discussions that we had last week, we have put together a draft ordinance for your review, which, if you so desire, would adopt map 103, which was the preferred map at last week's meeting. That ordinance is at the end of your packet, and I'm going to go ahead and read the title into the record right now. That's ordinance number 19-10, an ordinance of the Board of Directors of the Joshua Basin Water District establishing and implementing district-based elections. If the board desires to move forward with map 103, tonight would be the first reading or the introduction of that ordinance, and then next Wednesday, the 17th, would be the second reading or the adoption of that ordinance.
If I'm not mistaken, and I'll speak on behalf of the board, I think it was our intent to move forward with map 103, and I will stand corrected if that is not the case.
That was my understanding.
All right. So if we, with our quorum here, that was what our intent was.
That's correct.
So what is our next move here?
If you have any questions of me, I'm happy to answer them. If you'd like to discuss amongst yourself, you can discuss amongst yourself, or you can open the public hearing and take any additional public input that you might have. After you receive public input, again, any more discussion can occur, and then we would need a motion to introduce the ordinance.
Okay. So if I have this all correct, then what I think I'll do is I'll ask the public if there's any comments from the public, and seeing, yes, sir?
El Marquez, Joshua Basin water ratepayer from Sunfair. I noticed that there's 5 districts that the board has relied on, and the 2 comments that I'd like to make is that the Sunfair community and the Copper Mountain community, they show it as north and south of these 2 communities. Actually, the Copper Mountain community is more east and west, and so is the Sunfair community. And then you also have areas that are considered as other. There's 2 communities that you consider other. And what I like to say is that instead of having 5 districts, we should have 7 districts. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Are there any comments, additional comments? And if not, then I'll direct the board for comments if they have any. I'll start with Director Reynolds.
Oh, thank you. I haven't been candid with my thoughts on this act of somewhat extortion, but here we are. We have to do it. Let's move forward. I did like something that I saw Director Unger pointed it out to me that I thought was helpful. I hope I don't steal in your...
No.
your
Have at it. It was pointed out to me.
Oh, okay. Section 8 on page 40 of 42, Section 8, in the event at any time in the future California Voting Rights Act is amended, found to be unconstitutional or otherwise no longer applicable to the district, and the Board of Directors explicitly indicates its intention that by the district election method be re-examined on the behalf and on the future of the Board of Directors. Expressly reserve its rights to repeal or modify this ordinance. I'm hoping that will be the case. That's all I have to say. That's the best news of the whole thing, is there is a potential out if our Congress is helpful on this matter.
Thank you, sir. Director Unger?
I have nothing.
All right. Director Luckman?
I did steal it.
No.
All right, and I have nothing further to add at this point in time. I'll turn the meeting back over to Jennifer, is that correct? Or do we,
So at this point in time, we would need a motion for the first reading of the ordinance.
Close the public hearing.
Close the public hearing.
Do we need to?
yes, please?
Gail Austin, Joshua Tree. Will these be known in the future as District 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? And not have names, because that could be an issue, like Mr. Marquez was saying, that they'll be like, oh, this isn't Sunfair, or this isn't Copper Mountain Mesa. So I would recommend that they either be numbers or letters, but not those names.
Their numbers.
Thank you.
So do you need a motion from the board?
Yep.
All right. And is there any special wording for this?
No, you can just have a motion to move staff recommendation.
All right.
I move that we move the staff recommendation as this, and reading of the ordinance establishing district-based elections. Did we say now that we're adopting map 103? Is that part of this?
So actually, right now, this is just the introduction of the ordinance. Next Wednesday will be the actual adoption of the ordinance, and then the ordinance will become effective 30 days after April 17th.
So what's the correct wording for this?
So if you just say you want to move staff recommendation, it'll take care of everything.
I move staff recommendation on item number 6.
All right. Is there any discussion from the board? Hearing none, any discussion from the public? If not, I'll call for the vote. Does it need to be roll call? Director Reynolds?
Aye.
Director Unger?
Aye.
Director Luckman?
Aye.
And myself is an aye. All right. So moved, so carried. So that brings us to where?
Adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? So moved, so done.